Man, I look happy in that thumbnail, don't I? I'm the worst at those. So I'm also really bad at announcing these, so sorry once again. And I've been a little bit MIA because I've been out of town this week. And so I'm also really uh, behind in what's going on. So I've been trying to play catch up. I wasn't even looking at really my Instagram or Twitter this last week, but there's so much going on. So, some good stuff, some bad stuff. I wanted to first start talking about Isaac Kappy. So, I don't know if you guys all know who Isaac Kappy is, but he was basically an actor who came out and was basically naming names in Hollywood of people that were pedophiles and, child predators, and basically a part of what, the Illuma, whatever you want to say. And so, his, whatever you want to say about, he was kind of a wacky guy, seemed very sweet. Um, but, it was very compelling to me that he was naming names. And, I followed him since he first came out and started talking about this. And he was also a follower of Q, and he talked a lot about Q. Um, so anyway, yeah, he seemed like he was a really great man. Anyway, he he died this last night, I believe, or yesterday, and he jumped off of a bridge, I guess, in northern Arizona. So this was right after. Hi, this was right after. Um, Yesterday he put out, or yesterday or the day before, I think he put out a Periscope that I actually watched today, and it was strange. It was very cryptic, and it was, he was obviously talking about this horrible thing that he had done that, he wasn't going to come out and say what it was, but he was saying that, and he also put out an Instagram post. He deleted everything off of his Instagram and put up this long post that actually didn't really sound like him at all. It was very strange, and in it he talks about how he's not a good person, he's done some bad things, and even alludes to like treason or something, and that he should be executed, but when he did his Periscope yesterday, he said specifically that he wasn't, or the day before, he said specifically he wasn't suicidal, but he kept alluding to things that made it seem like, he wouldn't be around for much longer. And he also didn't make it sound like he was in legal trouble. So I don't think he was talking about going to jail. I think he knew what he was talking about. But yeah, I don't know what I feel about Isaac Kappy. I think he was, um, you know, like I said, his story was compelling. He actually introduced a guy not too long after he came out. There was another guy who's, I only remember his Twitter handle. It was Vegan Mikey. And I actually think about this guy all the time because his story was exceptionally compelling. And he talked about not only being a victim of SRA when he was a kid and what he went through, but also he grew up and moved to Seattle when he was older and was kind of in the music industry, and he was also naming names within the music industry and a couple other like high level people, and talking about being at these parties where there were children there, and he knew what was going on and whatever. And after he came out and talked about this, he got like kicked out of his apartment for no reason. He came home and like the locks were changed and his bank account was frozen, and people were trying to, he was living out of his car. People were trying to help him, support him. There was no way to get him money because, nobody, I don't know. It was, but I think about him all the time because I wonder if he's okay. And so yeah, I think the whole thing is that, you know, we obviously don't take the stance of like believe every victim, because that's lame. And I mean, I know plenty of people that have made things up. But we also don't go the other way where we immediately just think everybody is making things up. So I think the compelling thing is that when people are naming names and these people aren't getting sued for defamation, that's something to look at. And so I don't know, but the whole point is that it gets eyes on these things, and people think, maybe start to take it a little bit more seriously. And the entire point is these things need to be investigated, right? It's not just, we don't just make up our minds based on somebody having a good story or not. But I was really sad to see that what happened to Isaac. I actually spoke to him not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, about interviewing him for my channel. And he was very sweet, and he, made some kind of quick conversation comment about courage being contagious. And, that was that. I didn't really know him. I didn't know him at all. But that's very sad news. And, it just seems like whether, the official story is correct or not, it just seems like it's a dangerous thing to get into when you start talking about these things. So, yeah, I don't know why it says there's one person in this chat. My thing is showing like 27. Yes, the timing is very suspicious. I'm going to read through some of these. Yeah, but his whatever it was, Periscope or whatever it was that he went on the other day, he was talking about how he let everybody down, and that what we're going to find out is that he did something that sold out the Great Awakening. And he said something about Junior going to be doing, something important. And at first I thought he was talking about Don Jr. And then I think he said actually JFK Jr. So I don't know. No, I don't know about shirts or anything. Anyway, it was very sad listening to him talk. I don't know what he did. It was also very frustrating that, he didn't just come out and say it. He was definitely berating himself and saying that, no one should forgive him, and that he was going to use this as an opportunity to try to, show people to learn from his mistakes or whatever, that he had a moment of weakness where he just let the dark get to him. And he kind of alluded to it being something that was, had to do with money, taking money for something. And I don't know. So that was really sad. I saw that today. And I know a couple people that, I know somebody that interviewed him, so I reached out to him and was just like, oh, I don't know, did you see this? So, yes, you do, Mr. Mustachio. So that was really sad. And I don't know, if you want to go to his Instagram and read that post, it's Isaac Kappy, I think is his thing on Instagram. The post was weird. It didn't even sound like him. And, the wording of it was really strange. And then it was signed off for like a date in the future. I think it was July 4th of this year, which is weird. And a lot of weird things about that. So that'll be something interesting, kind of keep our eyes on. But I was really disappointed. Obviously, when somebody dies, there's a certain, delicacy I believe that people should take. And I was not seeing that, especially like TMZ and just like a bunch of a-holes. Let's see, what else? I have my list here. Oh, and if you guys have anything that you saw, because I feel like I've missed so much, and I came back and just, usually Twitter is where I get most of my news. I feel like that is the best place to get it, like as timely as possible. His Instagram, I believe, was done by him. But I don't know about that last post. He had a bunch of posts up on his Instagram that he deleted, and then just put up this one, I believe, just a few days ago. Another thing I saw today, Monsanto lost, I think, their third lawsuit, and this one was a major one. It was for like over $2 billion. And yes, I would love to get Robot in Tears back for another interview, but I kind of want to interview somebody else first since she's my only one, which is why I reached out to Isaac. I actually have a couple people that I've talked to and a couple people in the works to interview. But I always appreciate your recommendations on who you'd like to see me interview and whatever. So the interesting thing that I was seeing about the Monsanto was about they uncovered these messages basically between Monsanto and some guy at Monsanto and the EPA, basically talking about how like they were gonna bury this, and if he could bury it then he deserves a medal and yada yada. And it's just all a bunch of crap. Of course they're gonna appeal like they always do, but now this is the third lawsuit that they've lost in regards to causing cancer. So I consider that a win for the good guys. JFK disappearance on Thursday, changing their narrative to disappearance. I saw that. I saw some graphic, it looked like from Fox News, saying that I believe in like 2 days they're going to have some show, right, on JFK Jr. And the title of it was, something about the day he disappeared, which is strange because he didn't disappear, he died, right? So a lot of people were posting that today. And I don't know. So gone too soon, that's for sure. He was another one that spoke out about a lot of good stuff. I don't know. I actually, when I went to that rally back in October, I actually met a girl. She stood behind me in line all day, and she's like the JFK Jr. person. Like she has an entire Twitter and Instagram that she dedicates to all of that. So it was interesting talking to her about it because I have to admit, when I start to kind of go down that hole, it gets really exciting and it's hard not to get your hopes up with stuff like that. There was one thing, the Santa Claus. I don't know if you guys saw the Santa Claus. Like there's the whole theory is that he's alive and that he's like working with Trump and whatever, and that that he'll go to rallies in like costume or whatever. And there was this Mr. and Mrs. Claus that it was just something about him was just very, I don't know. It just made me get really excited. I was like sending it to people. I was like, could it be? Could it be? I don't know. I think I would not like to get my hopes up to be devastated again. Because I was very sad. I remember Sex and the City had an episode where Samantha's life, oh, you guys don't care. But basically like one of the characters, like loses her reputation and then gets saved by JFK. He like literally pulls her out of the gutter, and you see his JFK Jr. You see his shadow like coming to reach down and pick her up. And then that episode came out kind of right after he died, and so they had to change it to Leonardo DiCaprio, as if they have the same shadow. Wizened old Leonardo DiCaprio. But that's one thing I remember. That R was the premise of a book Roger Stone was writing in like 2015, right? I did not know that. You live in the rabbit hole. Well, me too. Fast Jack claimed that R was a BV just derping around, but I don't know. It was written almost too well for a derp. Well, I'm here for the derps. I am a derp princess. Good to see you guys too. I don't know. Maybe he's alive. I don't want to get my hopes up, but if that turned, would that not be the coolest thing on planet Earth? One of the things that Q talks about is I think they say, 4 to 6% of people just won't get it. That is actually a very small percentage when you think about it. When you guys think about who you know in your day-to-day and who you talk to and encounter, and think about the things that you know that are coming down the pipe and how ill-prepared they are for that. And then to think about the possibility that at the end of this, a very, very tiny percentage of people are not going to get it really means that there are some huge things up their sleeve, I think. And what would be bigger than that? And the fact that he's so, I don't know, both sides like him, you know? It's not like he's a hero for one side or the other. He's very unifying, I guess, just like his dad. So that is, you know, another reason why I will allow myself to go there a little bit with it. But I won't discuss it because I understand also why people are very skeptical of that being something used to discredit Q. And whether or not it's true, it really does make some of us sound, you know, kind of like we'll believe anything, even though I know from looking into it myself that there are things that are very eye-opening. And I don't consider myself to be a dummy, really, even though I say I'm a dummy all the time. Somebody actually got on me for that. They were like, you know, you're very derogatory towards yourself. I'm very self-deprecating. It's just how I was raised. The plan, I think he was suicided, and the Q part was just so the MSM could blame Q and the Anons. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that the story from that day is very interesting, and the flight conditions and the lack of bodies found, and I don't know. That would be very interesting. What else? Wiener was released. I saw a funny tweet that was like, a wiener in public is never a good idea. So Anthony Weiner, I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, obviously we don't want him, obviously he's a bad dude, but I don't know if that means that we will have him now for our questioning. Obviously his laptop is a major component to everything, and you know, I believe it could be the, you know, there are lots of different things that I think could just like unravel this completely. That is definitely one of them. According to, you know, the people who claim to know what was on his laptop, these insurance files that basically have blackmailable photos and documents and videos of these elite people doing horrific, horrific things, rumored to have made hardened cops vomit, cry, and need therapy after viewing them. So whatever is on that laptop, I think should be examined further by the right people, not dirty people. And what was the name? Was it Schneiderman was the attorney general who basically sat on it and made it not able to be used as evidence? And then he got outed. I got excited when he got outed, I think like last June or July or something. Because then it was like, oh, then here comes the laptop. So I don't know. There are all these things that seem at the same time massive, and then also, I don't know if I'm just jaded at this point where it's just like so many things, you're like, oh, here it comes, and then it doesn't come. I mean, stuff is happening, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, maybe this is good for me. This is good for those of us who tend to be a little excitable, which I definitely fall into that category. But I want to see what's on that laptop. Actually, I don't really want to see it, because if it really is what I think it is, I don't think I could handle it, to be honest. But I want the right people to see what's on that laptop. And isn't that just the thing? Like shouldn't all bad things be investigated to their full extent? And all these technicalities are such bull crap. And yeah, that's my rant on that. It's more than insurance. Hillary would have Huma print stuff out for her. She would have Anthony Weiner save it to his laptop to do the printing and to keep an insurance file. I didn't know that. Oh yeah, so was it Huma's So Huma Abedin was his wife, or is his wife, or whatever. Was it her laptop or was it his? Because I've seen both. And I also have seen both saying that, one, he offered it, you know, he got in trouble texting an underage girl. And I heard one story that was he basically wasn't subpoenaed, or he didn't have to give them the laptop. He basically gave it over to them, kind of like, well, here's my get out of jail free card, because that's how these things work, right? But then I also did hear that, you know, they did seize it. So I don't know. What have you guys heard? Either way, I do think that there's some, I think that, you know, Huma was Hillary Clinton's handler. And I think that she also knows where some bodies are buried, for lack of a better term. And it's going fast. Drop for laptop contact list. Oh, interesting. Bottom line, there are a bunch of really sick freaks out there that need to go to Gitmo. Hear, hear, sister. Or I can't see your, I don't know if you're a man or a woman. It went too fast. But yes, exactly. And I think we're all getting a little itchy for it, right? It was his laptop, but she was giving him the info so he could print things for her. Gotcha. Good to know. Huma was at the Met Gala last week. Was she? Well, hell, that Met Gala was gross. Was it the Met Gala last year also that had an it wasn't an Illuminati theme. It was like a religious theme. And everyone came dressed as like the Pope and Jesus and like all these iconic whatevers, and it was very strange. And this one was very strange also. Obviously the Met Gala is known for, you know, people get in these get-ups, this attire, and people really go over the top, and it's like your day to dress like a, you know, bird feeder, if you want to dress like a bird feeder, I guess. But they always have these strange themes, and it's very suspect. I think it's just gross. And then you look at all these dummies that are like, you know, especially it's one thing if like you are an entertainer and that's what you do and you're just ridiculous and whatever, go be ridiculous. And there is a place for you in life. You know, I will admit it's entertaining and it's whatever. But the ones that try to get political and like advocate for things, and there are children, you know, like starving in the world and people living on the streets in our country, and they show up, you know, dressed like a chandelier. And actually, literally, I think somebody was dressed like a chandelier. Anyway, I'm just getting a little sick of it. I really just don't care. I don't know if it's because of the Q stuff. I don't know if this would have happened naturally, because I think I've told you guys before that I was really into, you know, I knew the celebrity gossip and I knew who was dating who, and I really watched a lot of Bravo and whatever. I really fell for it, but I just could not care less anymore. And it's not even just that it like irks me. I remember when the last North Korea summit was happening. I was kind of like by my phone expecting to hear like updates or whatever. And I remember I got this news alert on my phone, and I like picked up my phone, and it was a news alert that said, Julia Roberts got a new haircut that everybody's freaking out over. And I wanted to throw my phone across the room. And I still see all this stuff, you know, my newsfeed, and I just have to remind myself that like people are still in that world where they care about that crap. Hello. So yeah, it is a freak show. Okay, I'm scrolling up to read some of these things. Yes, they did have it in a file on it called the insurance file. I wonder if Hillary was the boss and Obama was her flunky. I don't think so. I think that there are people above them and they are both kind of puppets. I don't think Hillary is the boss of anything. I think she is the loser of everything. I mean, obviously whatever. These are all puppets. I think they're pretty equal. Equally awful, equally terrible. Katy Perry was a cheeseburger. Of course she was. Yeah, and some of these people I just can't even look at anymore. Is there something wrong with me? Have I taken it too far? Because I really can't. I really can't. There are a couple that, like, if I, like, some singers and stuff, that if their music comes on, I have to leave or I have to turn it off. Oh, who had his own decapitated head? That was Jared Leto. Had his own decapitated head. All the crap that is out there to distract us from the truth, and we know what they did. It's so true. But not only is it that, I think, it's also, this is actually kind of a funny story. It's also to kind of infiltrate these thoughts and ideas into our minds so that we, you know, all of these symbols are obviously important to these people, and we start to accept these symbols because they become a part of pop culture. And I remember that months ago, I have a private Instagram that wasn't private a while back, and that was, you know, the main Instagram that I used when I started following Q or whatever. So every once in a while, I would post something Q related on that Instagram. And this one time I posted a book or something like that I was reading, and I put the hashtag QAnon in the post. This woman who was obviously going through the QAnon hashtag found that post, went through it. It was a book that she obviously, oh, I remember, it was The Raw Material. The Raw Material. So she was very upset by this book that I was reading, saying that it was satanic and that Ra was, you know, Lucifer or whatever, and that I shouldn't be linking this to QAnon. And she went through my Instagram, my entire Instagram, and started pointing out all of these posts that I made with this really questionable symbolism. You know, like a picture of my son's feet just in red shoes, or like a picture of my son in bunny ears, or I can't remember the rest of them, but she was pointing them out. She's like, now I know that you're a shill. Now I know that you're a plant because you posted this, and this. And I like turned into that Pikachu meme. I was like, oh my God, like she's right. I mean, she's not right about me being a shill, but it's crazy how much symbolism she was able to point out. And it's a lesson, I think, for me and for all of us, in that sometimes people that, you know, have that kind of symbolism in their artwork or something that they're wearing, or it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sending a message or that they even know or thought about it. It's just so ingrained in our culture these days that, I mean, if, like, for example, unicorns, right? There's some questionable stuff about unicorns, but if you leave your house for like more than an hour, you're gonna see unicorns somewhere. I went to Target and was like, actually, somebody did a really great video on it. I'm gonna find out who it is. There's some YouTube channel that's a husband and wife. They're really good. I completely forgot about them. Anyway, they did an entire video on unicorn symbolism in our society, and she went out with her daughter to like Walmart and a couple other stores and found like 300 unicorns, like unicorn cereal and unicorn keychains, and obviously unicorn clothing, and, you know, blow up toys for your pool and all kinds of stuff. Kate's satanic. Shell, they're turning the frogs gay. Exactly. Anyway, you know, yes, MK Ultra, I don't know, but it definitely is proof of, you know, how much they get us to, you know, I have friends with clothing companies even that like have really satanic symbolism on their t-shirts. And, you know, now knowing what I know, of course I'm kind of like, but I also know these people to be like very sweet people, and I really don't believe that they are doing that on purpose or that they're like a part of something bigger. I think it just has been thrown in our face so much that it's just like the hip culture now. Like, even look at Netflix and how many satanic movies and TV shows and like things geared around witches and the occult and I think once your eyes are open to it, yeah, you see it everywhere. It was very easy for that woman to go through my thing, and once she pointed it out, I saw it too. But that was actually really funny. With Q, I pray it's real. I want to believe. I do pray for full armor of God. You know, I think it's real. I have seen way more pointing in the direction that it's real. Actually, I've seen no reason to doubt it. So that's just my opinion. But I think we'll know soon enough. Shows online. Unicorns. Yep. Thank God we have the unicorn emoji. And 2 different kinds of camel for some reason. And a squirt gun now because the real gun was causing too many deaths. Okay, now I'm reading. I have not asked them about the satanic stuff on their shirts. But it really is everywhere, like goats and the upside down cross in the middle of the head. And there was some t-shirt company, these are not people I know, but there's some t-shirt company that literally has, they were advertising it on Facebook. And I think I actually know people that own these shirts too, of children on the ground performing some kind of satanic ritual with like a child in the middle, and there are candles around. There's like the pentagram in the middle, and it's like sacrificing for, I don't even know, but you know, once upon a time, before I took any of this stuff seriously, obviously I was just like, oh, that's a funny shirt. But yeah, really dark and really in our face everywhere we turn. I'm frozen again. Gosh dang it. Sorry about that. Slowly poisoning the minds of us all. Yes. What's for dinner tonight? I don't know. I have not even thought about dinner tonight. Oh yeah, so I have more stuff on my list that I was going to talk about. Hello. Okay. Oh, Alyssa Milano's sex strike. That might be all I have to say about that. She's such a knucklehead, and you know, again, going back to, I think what I was talking about last time, just these hysterical voices on that side that just, everything just, I read all of their tweets, it just sounds like this, and everything's just so crazy. I just can't even, like, I can't read her tweets. I can't read anything she writes without hearing that. Because nothing is calm and collected and thought out well. I mean, think about how stupid, they're like abstinence to own the patriarchy, right? And, you know, if we can't have abortions, then we're not gonna have sex. Like, yeah. Yep, you got it. That's so weird to me. She's such a maroon. J Film Peeps, so far left it's obnoxious. Yeah. I'm nice to call her a knucklehead. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about her. I just want to stick her in the corner with her finger in her ear and a dunce cap and just tell her to think about some things. Her and AOC, which also AOC I think, was it today? I'm so lost on days, but she basically came out and said that if you took her seriously when she said that the world was going to end in 12 years, that you had like the intelligence of a sea sponge or something. Because she was like totally kidding you guys, right? Like, oh my God, if you believe me, you're so dumb. I can't believe you guys even just took me seriously. Because like getting people all worked up about the end of the world when you're like kidding is super cool when you hold a position of power in Congress. She's another one. Don't you want to just like bonk their heads together and be like, she is not cool. But yeah, how do these people get away with that? You know, saying something just super dumb. Don't they know how many merit points you win by just humbling yourself and being like, look, I said this because I thought it for a time, but it turns out I might be wrong, or I'm still figuring it out. But to just totally pretend like you didn't mean it, nobody with 12 working brain cells buys that. So what are you saying about the people that support you? And you just know that they're stupid? I kind of love her though. To be honest, I kind of love her. She's just a never-ending treasure trove of just the worst. Yeah, I really do think there's something to her being a plant. Now, I've had people who know a lot more about a lot more than I do tell me that that is not it. But if she's not a plant, she is an accidental gift to us, because anybody that's kind of middle of the road, I mean, really a lot of these people in Congress and whatever are so extreme with some of these things that they're saying that I mean, it's almost like the Democratic Party doesn't even exist anymore. And these people are just so extreme with what they're saying. They've taken it just too far that I'd be surprised if anybody is even left over there. Yes, we went over Isaac Kappy right in the beginning. That's very sad. I did not watch Endgame. I don't really watch movies. Is that a movie? I don't know. Once lefties say something, they have to stand by it till the end, no matter how bad and dumb it is. You know, I mean, that's what I'm seeing. They just keep doubling down over and over and over again. That's not a good strategy, I don't think. Unless people are really, really stupid. She's a puppet. Where did she come from? Nowhere, right? She was not recruited. She was actually, it was an audition, right? They held an audition, and that's where they found her. That must have been a really funny audition. I wonder who else was in that waiting room. Oh, we got a question about the painting. We always get a question about the painting. I have no idea. Oh, but my mom bought me the coolest thing, you guys. And I don't know when it will get here, but it will be replacing this painting. And when it goes up, I will have the coolest background on YouTube. Probably not, but still, I'm really excited about it. Bette Midler is in the abstinence boat too. Who is touching Bette Midler? Other than Bette Midler. I don't get it. Like, who are they punishing? They're not, it really doesn't make any sense. Even when I try to like lower myself into that realm of stupidity, I can't find a reason. Stacey Abrams, yep, Ilhan Omar. Oops, it jumped. What are my thoughts on Roseanne? I just watched an interview she did today. I love Roseanne. I love, love, love Roseanne. I think she is a smart lady. I think she's a funny lady, and I think she knows a lot about what's going on. I think it was a shame that she was deplatformed off of Twitter for something really lame. Especially when all of these people, you can really find actual terrible things on Twitter. Which reminds me, Twitter today, a bunch of people lost a lot of followers. I think Praying Medic lost like 3,000. I might be wrong on this. Brendan Dilley lost a couple thousand. Tracy Beans, like Lisa Mae Crowley, all of these people basically, you know, out there talking about this stuff. And I don't know if it was everybody. I don't know if they did like a cleanse of, you know, bots and spammers or whatever. I know they do that from time to time, and if that was what it was. But I was really only seeing it from these particular people that just, it really seems like it was more targeted than that. Oops. Stupid thing jumps, and then I can't find my place. I need an assistant. Will you help me out? But yeah, I think I even lost a couple. I've got like 4 followers on Twitter, so I think I'm at 3 now. I want to get more into Twitter. Once upon a time, I used to Twitter all the time, and I loved it. I think it's a fun outlet, and I go on there all the time, like I said, to get my news and stuff. And the people that I follow that talk about all this stuff are on there for the most part. And but I kind of just keep my mouth shut. I don't know if part of it is just that really nobody's paying attention, so I feel like I'm just joking with myself, which is what I do anyway. It feels kind of lame, but I want to start tweeting again because it really is kind of fun to troll some of these demon people, like Satan's left testicle, Eric Swalwell. I think I trolled him recently. Oh man, he's so weird looking. I know we don't, I don't like to attack people's looks. Anything that somebody can't do something about is not a cool thing to attack. But he looks so strange to me. It's not that he's ugly. It's not that he's, whatever. It's just there's this particular look to him that makes me really not trust him. So there you have it. The Gospel According to Kate. Kate, my subscribers are down today. I noticed my subscribers are down today. Really on my YouTube. I remember when I started this channel and I was sitting there like painstakingly watch like myself get, a subscriber and then like 2 more subscribers. I finally got to, what was it? I think I got, was it 100? Or no, it was 1,000 because it was like some milestone. I was like really excited for getting 1,000. And I was talking to my friend who helps me with this channel, and we were like kind of watching it together because it was like, oh wow, we have 1,000 people already. And then within seconds, it dropped back down. I don't remember how much, but it was like a lot within a second. So it wasn't like, obviously not organic. So I don't know. It's very frustrating, but what are you going to do? As of right now, this is, you don't really have a lot of options when it comes to social media or really anything online. They own everything. You want to see a sad Twitter account? Follow me. I will follow you. We could be best friends. You and I could just talk to each other. That reminds me of like what are they, the Kazakhstan brothers that just tweet on Trump's comment and Trump's tweet. Every time Trump tweets, they like go back and forth. They're like the 2 old man Muppets that sit there and just bitch about everything. Only they do it on Trump's Twitter and they just go back and forth. And I commented on to them one time. I was like, don't you guys have each other's phone number? It's really obnoxious. A couple dirty hamsters. I still got to finish that book. What book? Am I Nordic? I'm not Nordic. I don't know, really. I'm like, just, I don't know. My sister got our DNA thing done. This was back before I knew to tell her not to do this, but she did the like 23andMe or whatever. And I think they just mailed her back a picture of a saltine cracker. No, we had some fun stuff in us, like Brazilian, like 2% or whatever. But I think I'm like English, German. That's pretty much it. When you're inbred, the branches don't extend too far. Krasenstein? Thank you. Krasenstein. Good to know. I will never use that name again. Behold a Pale Horse. Yes, that's a great book. Excellent book. I've been reading Prometheus Rising in a books on tape style because I couldn't find them anywhere else. I'm okay at it, but it's better than nothing. I wish I could do books on tape. I really just like the whole process of reading. I don't even like doing, I had a Kindle. I don't like that. I like the feel of paper. I like turning pages. I just like that whole experience of reading books. And I don't I'm not good at multitasking where like if I were driving a lot, books on tape would be great for me, but I don't drive really ever. So, but a lot of people recommend, you know, certain books on tape and also a lot of podcasts to me. And there just isn't enough time in the day. I am Wonder Bread, the whitest, doughiest breads of them all. 13 Pieces of the Jigsaw. Interesting. I'll look it up. I would just like to encourage you to keep on doing what you do. So refreshing to hear someone that is open and honest. Well, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. And yeah. Pale Horse is what got me started. Oh, back in 1992. Edge of Wonder traffic down 50%. Really? That sucks. Nope, I'm not in Texas. Heinz 57, what? Yeah, no, I haven't read that. The Committee of 300. I got that right here. I haven't started it yet though. Even though it looks really tattered, it's because I bought it used. That is how I am saving my, I buy a lot of books. I need a library card, but first I need to get my license renewed and a lot of other things. So as soon as I get a library card, it's all over, guys. I actually literally have a stack of like 8 books right there that are on my read immediately list. I'm not Amish. I just don't drive because I drive to the grocery store and etc. But I'm not in the car for extended periods of time. Do you know anyone else in real life who is into the Q stuff? Or do you just keep it all to yourself like I do? So now I have made friends within the community, which has been so important to me because it was really lonely at first. But these are people that I met afterwards. I also do have a couple friends who are into Q. A couple that were in it on their own, and then a couple that I got them into it. So now I do have, and I talked to my mom about it too. My mom's kind of into it. She's not sold on everything, but she's interested enough. She stopped looking at me like, do I need to get the guys with the nets out here? But it's so important just to have people to talk to about this stuff because a lot of this is so heavy and so major, and it completely changes your point of view on everything. So always try to find people to talk to you about it. Me too. I mean, you can always reach out to me to talk to about this stuff. I think my email address is thekateawakening@gmail.com. You can always email me on there, and I'd be happy to be your friend and talk to you about this stuff because I think it's important. Serial Brain doing the Guns Tunnels. I did not see any of that. The Ascension Mysteries, I read that one. That was really great. That's David Wilcock. And that is the only book of his that I've read, but I really recommend it. The first half of that book is basically his autobiography, which I think I like that stuff because I like knowing about the person, that I'm getting this information from and where they're coming from, just as a human being, because it makes me, to me, it made me trust him more to hear about his childhood and, hear about his life in his own words. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Because to me, he was just some dude on Ancient Aliens for a long time. And a lot of these things, again, that he talks about, these people talk about, you're just like, you really do need a foundation of, some people can look at somebody and just know to trust them or not. I am not really, I don't know, my intuition's okay, but I wouldn't say it's the best. So whatever I can learn more about people when I'm getting information from them is good. And then the last half of that book was just like alien explosion, which made me really happy. Love the live show. Are you going to do it regularly? I tried. Yes. Yeah. I'd like to do this at least once a week. But, ooh, Stan, who is Q? Go look at, you can go and look at, I have a couple videos on who Q is. They're, I think, my second and third video on this channel. Yeah, so start there. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions on that. Before there was Q, there was Meganon. Yes, that is true. There have been several kind of, you know, whistleblower type anonymous people on the Chans. So Q was nothing unique at first, you know. It wasn't a completely, you know, out of the blue, whatever. Wish I could have you all over for dinner. That would be really nice. I would love to have you guys here for dinner too. I would cook for you guys. We are Q. Good answer. Go ahead and test that email out. Was Mega Anon the woman, the female? Your whole family thinks you're crazy. They'll get there eventually. They'll get there. Dr. Michael Salla has fantastic books. Yes, I have one of his books. What do I have? It's not in my pile, but I also haven't read it yet. It's in my stack of books to read non-immediately. All of these are immediate because I want to do videos on each one of these things. These are like fundamental whatevers. Oh, joebiden.info. Go to that website. It's really funny. It's so funny. It reminds me of if you go on the Trump website and you get to like a 404, you know, the 404 error that you get, like this page does not exist. It's a picture of Hillary Clinton basically standing at the presidential podium. It's like, we're sorry, this does not exist. It's pretty trolly and awesome. Best president ever. Greetings. Mega Anon was Q. I don't know. Remaining family's sister no longer talks to me. She'll get there. No red meat unless you see the cow it came from. Most is people. Oh my God. I would not be shocked if we find out that like McDonald's is Soylent Green. At this point, that would not shock me. I don't want to think about it. Not that I eat McDonald's. Yeah. I actually don't really like red meat anymore. I used to be a huge red meat person. I don't really eat that. I eat mostly fish. I don't eat chicken just because I've never really eaten chicken. I don't really like chicken. But man, yeah, I don't know. I'm really all food that you can't see exactly where it came from is sketchy to me these days. It would be very good to hear you and Robot Interiors together again. Yeah, definitely, eventually. She is really awesome. Jordan Maxwell is good for people seeking religious truths. That Biden site's good. Sleepy Creepy Joe. Oh, that's nice that about your brothers being down the rabbit hole with you. Yeah, you know, I started following Q last February, so it's been a little bit over a year. And it took a long time for me to have anybody to talk to that weren't like just rolling their eyes and pantomiming a hand job behind my back. But now people get it. People are, and that's also very encouraging to me, is because these people that I'm glad that they're skeptical, and I know some very, very bright people, and it's good. It's good for us to flex our muscles of not just having people just believe us right off the bat, right? It helps us to examine what we believe, and it actually makes our beliefs firmer, right? When you are constantly challenging, because it's easy to get excited about things. It's easy to, find a conspiracy theory or one of these wacky things like the Mandela effect or whatever. And it's easy to look at these things, and the Mandela effect, I think, is a good example because it's not that serious. It can be pretty surface and just kind of like for entertainment's sake, but we all kind of have an experience that's related to that we're like, oh, wow, man, what if? I completely lost my train of thought. So we'll just go back to these. Rupert M. Do you mean Rupert Murdoch? Are you talking about Fox News? Google is not the best place to start researching Q. That is faux show. DuckDuckGo, if you have to use a search engine, but even they, I don't know. The good stuff is buried. A lot of the really good sites just get taken down anyway, so it doesn't matter if you can search for them. Back to David Wilcock, just took his Ascension Mystery School. Tons and tons of amazing information. Check it out. Can't wait to see his new movie with Corey. Yeah, I actually started watching the Ascension Mystery School as well. But again, there's not enough time in the day, so I think I watched the first one. And the other ones are waiting in my email. You heard an interview with Q, someone who claimed to be Q, the other day. Interesting. I don't think that Q would do that. Well, I don't know. But I would be very skeptical of anybody claiming to be Q. Very lonely existence being awakened. It's true. But not forever. It's making us stronger. Mandela effect. Due to God resetting timeline. Due to HRC winning and nuking world. Dang. That's quite a thought. Yeah, that's a very interesting topic. I actually had one recently that I was talking to my friend about. The word ilk. Okay, I consider myself to be, you guys wouldn't know this based on my work here, but I'm pretty good with vocabulary. Vocabulary is like kind of my thing. I really like it. I read a lot. I've kind of been into vocabulary my whole life. And so like months ago, I came across this word ilk, which I swear to God, I had never seen before. And within maybe, I don't know, a couple weeks, I saw the word at least 8 times. I went from seeing it never ever to seeing that 8 times in like a week and a half. And I was telling my friend about it. She's like, yeah, I've never heard of that word either. And she's also really into vocabulary. We sound like a couple party animals, right? So, like 3 days later, she texted me. She's like, oh my God. She took a picture of her TV. She was watching TV and she had the closed captioning on and somebody used it on there. And she was like, I can't believe this. So I don't know if that's a Mandela effect or what, or if I'm just really, really dumb. But I swear to God, that word was not in my timeline until recently. And then that's another interesting thing too about the Mandela effect is that it doesn't necessarily affect everyone, right? It's like some people have one version and others have another. And then we kind of rejoin each other. Oh, that Q person said he was one of the team. I don't know. Interesting. Do you remember where it was at? Or where the interview was? No outside comms. That is definitely something that Q says. Oh, I'm... Hermetic Greek sorcery. You just think I didn't care about the classics. That might be true too. But explain why I mean, it's a word that I see being used by, I think even, was it one of the, it was like, I don't know, somebody dumb even used it. And I was like, on Twitter that week. And so I was like, how do you go from never hearing I mean, obviously, once something catches your eye, then you become more cognizant of it, and then you start noticing it everywhere, whatever. But I swear I'd never seen that word before. And then all of a sudden it was everywhere. Watch out for Mandela vids. Edge of Wonder has good Mandela videos. Those were actually the first videos I saw of theirs. Does Q give us insight into current events with Iran or Venezuela? So hard to distinguish. What are distractions? That's a really good point. And I don't know if I mean, definitely not recently. So not what's going on currently. I haven't seen anything from Q recently about like Venezuela or whatever, but it is hard to distinguish. Sometimes knowing really, you know, to take everything at face value and in our current events and what we're seeing in these news cycles and whatever. So I think that's why a lot of us like see things happening in the news and kind of wait for Q to come like and give us direction in what to make of all of it. YouTube comment where someone said James Elefantis is remarkably similar to, yes, I'm not going to attempt to say that in French, Jaime les Enfantes, which translates to I love children in French. Yes, that is true. I have looked that up before. So, and also that dude is in the, is it the Rothschild family photo. So there is a picture, if you Google like Rothschild family photo, there's a picture of them all kind of standing outside of this gate, I think. And at first glance, it looks like a really old photo. But anyway, if you look at it in the kind of, you know, like a quarter over from the right in the middle in some dumb hat is that dude. I swear it's him. It really looks like him. So that'd be interesting if he is a Rothschild. Cajole is a good one also. Red pilled when you learn that people you think you should trust are into human trafficking, etc. Same. I heard an interview with someone claiming to work at CERN saying they maintained our matrix programming and that the Mandela effect was them changing the software program a few times over the years. Interesting. You know, just like with everything else, I just don't have the attitude anymore where I'm like, that sounds like it could never happen. Because I think that's actually a little, well, I mean, I think I've seen enough now that not that I will believe anything, but I am open to most things. I heard it explained as like, who was it saying it recently? I don't even remember. Something I saw recently or someone I talked to recently said it was like the timeline snapping back. Can't remember who said that. Like when somebody goes back in the past, it creates another timeline, but then eventually it snaps back to the original timeline. But that was, I mean, I don't know if you guys had heard about the whole John Teeter thing. That was a rabbit hole I went down. a long time ago and was like pretty interested in it. I read there's like a John Teeter website, I think, with like his book. And I've heard people I trust say, no, that's total crap. But I thought it was very interesting, that whole story. And like the machine, they shows a picture of some machine, and I believe people offered like a reward if somebody could identify what kind of machine this was, and nobody could. That was supposedly a picture of the device that he used to time travel. It was like something that he would put in his car and use to time travel. But that was, if nothing else, it opened up my mind to the possibility of time travel, and even just to be thinking about like, what is time and is it linear, and are certain events, predetermined? And if that's the case, then if anything is predetermined, then it does, our, free will actually cannot even really be a thing, and whatever. So no, it doesn't snap back. The timelines remain parallel. That was the John Teeter theory, right? Where he couldn't get back to his original timeline, but he came here and he was stuck in like visiting his parents from this timeline, but he could never get back to where he really came from. Mandela effect is just a complicated term for lying. I don't know about that one. Plenty of people have experiences with it, myself included. I think the Mandela effect is a byproduct of the collective consciousness. That could definitely be too. The timeline is elastic and wants to return, if not reset by God. Read the Montauk series. Interesting. I will look that up. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, thank you to you as well, Mom. John Teeter couldn't escape the time loop that CERN sucked us into. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I remember about that too. Yeah, Yar. Cool. How long have we been doing this? A long time, I think, right? Well, that was all I had on my list to talk about. Like I said, I am out of the loop. So planning on getting back to whatever it is I do, collecting Twitter information and sharing it with you guys. Okay, I see, and you keep saying that word, and I'm trying not to say it because you're telling me not to say it, but you keep commenting it. Until Teeter could, and that means the loop had been broken and we could not escape. Interesting. Awesome. Okay, well, I am gonna go feed myself. So thank you guys for being here, and